Baxter, do you know of Zardulu?
Not really.
She's a woman who lives in New York, and she commands an army of rats. She even claims that there's going to be a big reveal pretty soon.
What kind of reveal?
No one knows. If we knew, it wouldn't be a reveal, would it?
I guess. How do you know about her?
Well, I've seen her rats around town.
Here in China Lake?
Yep. I even watched as one flew into the skies and crashed into an airplane, killing everyone on board.
Hey everyone, I'm Pastor Jay, and I can't fucking take anything seriously because doing so would be to admit that everything is a lie.
We're live, Baxter. We are live. Hey folks, Pastor Jay here from Know the Truth Ministries. Welcome to our show, The Christian Experience, or as I like to call it, my live call-in radio show where through phone magic and this technology we call the internet, I can answer all of your prayers and any other questions that you may or may not have. Our goal here is to serve you so that you may find justification in sending us money, dick pics, and opinions we did not ask for. We are coming to you sort of live from a large yet humble trailer park in China Lake, California, which is located just outside of Death Valley. The local time is a few minutes past midnight, and I am on a spaceship with a Gibson guitar. I hate Gibson guitars. Rachel Nannon Brown is sleepwalking again, and now she's kicking me in the head as hard as she can. Who gave me that damn guitar? Why is Rachel sleep kicking me? Is she still stuck in a dream? Did she not follow my instructions on how to wake herself up in case of emergency? I told her dreaming was dangerous. It's where children go and never return. It's also why cats are so damn evil. See, they sleep so much that the good side of them is trapped in the world of dreams, while their evil side terrorizes us here among the living. Rachel's body is with me, but her spirit must be on another part of the ship surrounded by aliens disguised as tiny bears wearing chicken masks. And they're biting her toes. That's why she's kicking me. In this dream, she's fighting for the survival of her man by kicking those tiny bears with chicken masks that are really aliens. For now, I'm gonna leave her nightmarish dream. Waking her up is like standing in the way of a tsunami of rabid, mutated hyenas on a bad acid trip. It's foolish, suicidal, and mildly amusing. Baxter, how are you doing tonight?
Good, I'm doing good, man.
Glad to hear that. Hey, say, are you ready for the pop quiz?
What pop quiz?
Oh, just something I created last night to test you on your Christian skills.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I know, right? Look, I hate quizzes too, but this must be done.
Or we could just not do it.
This must be done as a testament to your faith, and it must be done absolutely perfectly right now, lest the wrath of all the angels in heaven fall down upon you.
Pastor Jay.
Do you want the wrath of all the angels to fall down upon you, Baxter?
No way, man.
Okay, cool. Let's get started. Oh, by the way, this is going to be a time quiz.
Quick question. What happens if I fail?
I ask the questions.
All right, man. All right.
You ready?
Give me what you got.
Question number 1. The ark was 3 stories tall. The top story had a window to let light in. How did they see on the bottom 2 stories?
They used a floodlight.
Number 2. Who was the greatest babysitter mentioned in the Bible?
I'd say David. He rocked Goliath to sleep.
Number 3. Which Bible character had no parents?
Joshua.
And why?
He was a son of none.
Good. Number 4. Why do they say amen in the Bible instead of a woman?
I guess for the same reason that they have hymns instead of hers.
Number 5. What was the longest day in the Bible?
I'd say that the day Adam was created because there was no Eve.
Number 6. Why did God create man before he created woman?
Because he didn't want any advice.
Number 7. How do you make holy water?
You just take good old city water and boil the devil out of it.
Number 8. How do we know that cars are in the New Testament?
Because Jesus was a carpenter. Because Jesus was a carpenter. Carpenter.
Good. Number 9, what do they call a pastor in Germany?
German shepherds.
All right, lastly, number 10, what did Adam say on the day before Christmas?
It's Christmas, Eve.
Nice, Baxter. It seems that you're coming along quite well. Hey, how's that tutor I hired treating you?
Man, I don't know.
Wait, what's up?
Well, he seems kind of strange.
Okay, is that all?
Well, I'm not too happy about having a Thunder Chicken 10-speed bike gang member in our presence after all that happened the other day. Why are you smiling?
I'm not. I'm just sitting here eating my Activia.
But you're allergic to pudding. Pastor J, what the hell's going on?
Man, I didn't want to say anything.
What did you do now?
Nothing yet. Look, I may or may not have intentionally or accidentally turned you into a snitch.
What? For whom? And how?
For me, Baxter. And how I did it is of no concern to you. All you need to know is that through a small amount of money and some personal favors, I've managed to turn one of them into a spy. See, my thinking is that I could connect you with this guy in hopes that he would start trusting you enough to share information with you that you could then pass down on to me. As you already know, after all that went down, I'm not allowed to contact anyone within this town, except for you, of course, so I'm all out of options. Basically, you're my only lifeline between myself and anything that goes on outside the walls of this trailer.
Does any of that even matter now? We're leaving in a few days, and it's not like we're clueless or anything. We were given strict instructions.
I don't know. I've been watching Game of Thrones, and there's a character on that show named Varys, and he's like...
I know who Varys is, motherfucker, and you ain't him. You can barely take a shit without either tripping over
Baxter.
yourself or running out of breath because you're fat and you do nothing all
Baxter.
day but make me wait on you hand and foot.
Not true.
And this is the thanks that I get for that?
Well, not...
I get turned into a little bitch snitch. Do you know what they do to snitches in this town?
They get stitches, but I digest. I don't care. You need to calm down, dude. Let me explain, and maybe I can make this make sense to you.
You know what? I honestly don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I know. I can see that by the quality of the show.
Fuck you, man. This show is of average quality. The music sucks dick, but otherwise, average quality.
Hey. Those are my feelings you're messing with.
You sold your feelings to the devil a long time ago, my friend.
Maybe I have, Baxter. Maybe I have. Or... maybe I've been overstimulated to the point where I've had to push aside my feelings and replace them with emptiness in order to achieve the moderately bland quality of life I need so I can function through all of this chaos.
You're such a little bitch.
Well, I'm at least going to explain what happened to our listeners, if that's okay with you. They deserve to know.
Yeah, whatever.
Okie dokie. Listeners, before I get started on everything else, let me give you some background on the bike gang that Baxter and I just mentioned. While they're only part of what happened last week, knowing who they are and how they play into the story is somewhat important. Let's see, I have some things typed out on my computer here. Okay, some of this I already knew, and some of this I had to learn through other sources, so... okay, here we go. So this guy, Baxter's tutor, he's part of a gang called the Thunder Chicken 10-Speed Bike Gang, for reasons that no one in this town knows, as we have neither thunder or chickens. From the information I've gathered so far, it looks like this gang is mostly made up of high school dropouts, while their leader is a 32-year-old man who goes by the name of Chuck.
No last name?
No, not that I can see here. Oh, here's more. They mostly ride around on 10-speed bikes while new recruits are forced to run behind the gang as a form of humiliation/initiation.
Pastor J, you used to make me run behind a car whenever we went anywhere.
As for attire, they mostly like to wear Raiders football gear. Although if you're not paying attention, you might mistake one for a juggalo. Some more notes on the leader of the gang, Chuck. He likes to seek out women in this town who have recently gone through a breakup or a divorce. In addition to that, he likes to show off his female conquest by leaving his 10-speed bike on the front lawn of whoever's ex-wife or ex-girlfriend he happened to capture. What, Baxter?
I mean, by themselves, they don't sound like a bad gang or anything. Just a bunch of kids riding around on 10-speed bikes.
Yeah, true.
Even Chuck doesn't seem so bad. Just a dude who likes to be friend-zoned by chicks with alleged broken hearts. It's Dallas McSorley you need to worry about.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. To put things in a perspective for our audience, without Dallas, they're just a bunch of punks who attach empty beer cans to the branches of dead or dying trees. But without them, Dallas wouldn't be such a force to be reckoned with. See, together, they're like a bunch of urine and bean pods. It only makes sense why Baxter would be wary of having one of those mouth breathers as his tutor.
It's peas in a pod, Pastor J.
Peas, urine. I've heard it both ways. I don't fucking care.
Well, actually...
Can you let me get back to the listeners so I can catch them up on what's happening?
Yep.
Thanks. I appreciate you letting me run my show without interruption.
Anything I can do to help.
All right, where was I?
You were talking about the Backer game.
What did I just say about interrupting me? Okay, so anyway, that's all the specific information I have on the gang itself, but to summarize, up until Dallas McSorley moved here, they weren't really any kind of threat. It wasn't until I was drunk and said the wrong thing to her that shit hit the fan. Ever since then, she's amassed an army of 10-speed bikelists and has been spreading her influence all over the town.
Well, they have no issue with me. You did this all on your own, man.
You're kind of attached to me, so in a way, you're guilty by association.
One of the many perks of being your best friend.
So, listeners, by now, you may be asking yourself, where the hell are you going with all of this, Pastor J? Well, allow me to continue. I promise this will all make sense in the end.
Most likely it won't.
Last week after one of our shows, I was standing outside of Mrs. Underhill's trailer, like I always do. And from out of nowhere, I was sort of bound, gagged, and dragged by these two guys in an unmarked van.
You were gagged?
Oh, no, I already gagged myself a few minutes earlier, but everything else happened the way I stated it.
How did you not see these guys coming?
This is so embarrassing.
Well, spit it out.
That's not what they told me to do.
What?
Okay, here's what happened as I remember it. So, like I said, I'm walking towards Mrs. Underhill's house, ready for my night of enjoyment, ball gag already in my mouth, lube in one hand, normal shit, when I noticed a black, unmarked van sitting in the spot that I normally occupy. On its roof was a satellite, and attached to its front were two brand new 10-speed bikes. Frustrated by the fact that somebody stole my spot, I was ready to walk my ass back home when I heard the side door of the van open.
Hey, big guy. Wanna come inside our van?
One of the men asked. He was wearing a chicken mask, and by the looks of it, had on the exact attire I mentioned earlier. Although, at this time I knew not what it meant. His partner seemed oblivious to all this, as he was in the driver's seat and on his phone, probably texting someone. In fact, he's not really important to the story at all, so forget that I mentioned anything. I took the ball gag out of my mouth, and I asked, "Why would I want to enter your van?"
Well, why wouldn't you?
The man in the chicken mask replied.
Enter our van and you can have all the privacy you'd like.
I have no idea what you're talking about, my friend. I'm just taking a walk through this lovely neighborhood of mine. The man in the chicken mask cocked his head to the side quizzically.
Yes. I see. I guess I'll be turning off all our surveillance cameras then. We shall leave you to do your bidding.
Wait, did you say surveillance cameras?
Why, yes. We can see Mrs. Underhill from every room in her house.
Just like that? Like a child accepting candy from a stranger? I put the ball gag back into my mouth and ran into their van. I had little time to notice that I had been tricked, Baxter. With the few seconds I had to look at my surroundings, I noticed no cameras. Just the inside of an empty, dirty van. Chicken Mask Man stunned me with a blow to the back of the head, while a guy in the passenger seat hopped in the back and... well, he's unimportant. We don't have to talk about him.
Just what did he do to you, Pastor J?
I woke up sometime later, only to find myself in the junkyard at the edge of town, tied to the hood of a car. Although it was still twilight new moon, the sky above me was lava red, and it looked like there was some sort of vortex where all of that sky lava was falling up into. As my eyes began to focus, I looked around at the mountain of cars surrounding me. At the top of each car mountain was a dark watcher. They were different, though. They didn't disappear as I stared at them. Not like they used to. But they only stand at the edge of town and watch us, I thought. What are they doing here? I dismissed them, and I looked down at the crowd of people standing around me. They were all staring at me and standing as if ready to attack. Some had bats in their hands, others had chains. Off to my left was my therapist. She appeared to be in a daze, and she was mumbling something to herself. I couldn't make out anything, although I assumed she was speaking in rhymes. She always spoke in rhymes. In her hands was the brain in the jar, Matt Dillahunty. Tethered to the brain, as always, was his sidekick, Satan Bruggencate. Over to my right was Mrs. Underhill holding hands with her son. She was as naked as one can be, large breasts flapping in the wind that really wasn't there. Behind them was Iwasaka teaching a young apprentice the art of applying sandpaper to stainless steel mesh screening. By the look of the kid's face, he had done that before. Iwasaka looked over at me with judging eyes that said, "I judge you because you're not professional, like myself." I took a moment to scan the crowd once more. This is fucking ridiculous, I thought. I looked straight ahead and noticed Chuck. Surrounding him was the most decorated of his elite Thunder Chicken 10-speed bike gang army. Each one of them wore ribbons and badges that outnumbered and outcolored the badges that I wore during my time in the Marine Corps. They sat on their bikes ready to defend their leader at any cost. I looked up behind Chuck, and sitting on a throne made of junkyard parts was my longtime rival, Dallas McSorley. She was chewing gum, probably nicotine vape gum, and couldn't have looked more bored even if she tried. Underneath her throne and holding her up was the rest of the Thunder Chicken 10-speed bike gang. The initiates, if you will. With all the force I could muster, I spit my ball gag out of my mouth and screamed, "Dallas McSorley, what hath thou wrought?" Chuck turned around to look at her and patiently waited until she motioned for him to step forward. As she waved her hand flamboyantly in my general direction, he began walking towards the car that I was tied to. At that moment, I wanted to set him on fire. He opened up his fish lips, and he spoke in the manliest tone he thought possible.
Pastor Jason Homosexual, you've been accused of committing heinous crimes within the boundaries of this here town.
I started laughing. I couldn't tell if this bumbleclot was trying to make me laugh or if he was gifted with that voice.
You stop it right now.
It was either my laughing or just the simple fact that his minions suddenly realized how stupid his voice sounded, but they started laughing too. Even Dallas McSorley. Although her laugh was more of an internal laugh. Her face was still stone cold. Chuck turned around to the crowd behind him and shouted,
I said stop laughing right now or else you get kicked out of the club. Now, Mr. Homosexual.
It's Pastor.
What?
It's Pastor Jason Camo, thank you. He turned around to look at Dallas. Hey, don't look at her. Be a fucking man. Make your own decisions. He slowly turned back around to face me.
We don't got gender roles here. We're all the same.
I shook my head in disgust over the fact that we weren't talking about me anymore. Realizing that we quickly got off topic, Chuck pulled out a yellow post-it note and gave a list of the crimes of which I was being accused.
The defendant, Pastor J, is being accused of these crimes. Stealing cans of cream corn, murdering cream corn, murdering big feet, spying on Miss Underhill, larceny, public disruption, public nudity, starting a radio show without the direct permission of Pastor...
It's a podcast?
What?
It's a podcast, not a radio show.
Silence!
Screamed the woman on the throne. She had spit her chewing gum out of her mouth and was now staring deep into my soul.
How does the defendant plead?
I'm innocent? I'm innocent, Your Grace. A gasp rose up from the crowd.
How dare you presume to be innocent?
Mocked Dallas. But Your Grace, I swear it's true.
Thunder chickens! Kill him!
The eager crowd of soldiers and civilians started making their way towards me. They were sweating and panting and grunting. Some of them even began to remove their clothes. This is it, I thought. I guess I'm not the one who was meant to save the world. Suddenly, from my left, I heard an angel's voice.
The words he speaks is true. Pastor J is an innocent man.
Baxter, my best friend! I shouted. I was so relieved that my hero came to the rescue.
Don't worry, Pastor J. I'm gonna get you out of this mess.
He rushed over to stand by my side. Baxter, quick, untie me. I looked up at the crowd only to realize they had stopped. They just stopped and stood there with confused looks on their faces. Some of them even looked concerned.
Pastor J, who is you talking to?
Asked Chuck. Fuck off, man. Baxter, hurry up. Baxter and I struggled with the rope tied around my wrist for a few more seconds before I was finally free. Just like that, I stood on the hood of my car ready to fight my way out of this mess. Baxter, you bring weapons? This is gonna be a hell of a fight.
Sure did, man. I brought 2 Bibles and 2 sets of the armor of Christ. We're gonna fuck shit up.
Hell yeah. Leave Chuck for me.
And I'll get Dallas McSorley.
No. She's mine as well.
All right, boss.
Both Baxter and I stood there while the crowd slowly backed away. Except, Chuck trembled where he stood.
Pastor J, you is literally talking to yourself right now.
Baxter, charge! I screamed as Baxter and I made our way into the crowd. We crashed into them with all the intensity of 2 planets colliding. Bats hitting the armor of Christ, Bibles cracking skulls open with ease, bodies dropping to the ground quicker than I can say my ABCs. These townsfolk were no match for us. Even that stupid bike gang posed no serious threat. I looked over to Baxter to make sure he was doing all right, and sure enough, as I expected, he was on the ground consuming the intestines of someone who I couldn't identify. From behind, I heard the sound of a bat bearing down upon me. I parried. Then I blocked with my Bible as my other hand shot out the blood of Jesus and blasted my opponent into oblivion. After what seemed like minutes, the battle ended. And it was just Baxter and I standing there in the junkyard. Everyone was dead. Blood was everywhere. As I began to sift through the bodies, I asked Baxter, Hey, Baxter, do you see Chuck or Dallas?
No, I can't find him.
Do you remember even killing them? He was jumping in puddles of blood the same way a small child would jump in a rain puddle.
No way, man. I think they actually took off.
Motherfucker, I whispered. I continued to look around me for any evidence of my mortal enemies when I noticed something stir from atop the car mountains. Where the Dark Watchers once stood were now aliens with rape whistles tied around their slimy necks. I continued to stare at them while I said to Baxter, Come on, man. There's nothing left for us here. Let's go home.
Okie dokie, Mr. Pokey.
He replied as he continued to splash in his fucking blood puddles. Baxter, stop that. We have to go, I insisted. He didn't respond this time, but at least he stopped what he was doing and eventually followed me home. When we arrived at our trailer, there was a note attached to our door. That note read,
Dear stupid Pastor J and Baxter J, you have 1 week to leave this town, or else we will scoop your balls out with a melon baller. Love, Dallas and Chuck McSorley.
And listeners, that's where we are today. Unfortunately, this will be our last show based out of the wonderful China Lake, California. I'm not sure of what we're going to do or even where we're going, but I can assure you that the show will go on.
Let's go over to the East Coast, Pastor J. I hear the Atlantic Ocean is wonderful this time of year.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll talk about it after the show's over. Until then, we need to cater to our audience.
Oh, good point.
All right, Baxter, do we have any phone calls?
Yeah, sure do.
I figured since we don't have a lot of time and we're going to have to skip the recipes and advertisements and all that kind of shit, we might as well just get straight to these phone calls. All right, the first caller is from a guy who says he knows me, but we don't have a name. Caller, you're live on air.
Yeah, hi there. I was flipping through the YouTube pages, and I come across your website there, and you look kind of familiar. Like the guy that I met at the shitter on the I-40 truck stop. You had the real tickly beard, remember?
Nope.
Well, anyway, yeah, you might want to get yourself checked for the herpes. It's been going around.
I don't know.
Anyway.
Yep.
God bless.
Yep. Have a good day. Bye. All right. That must have been the wrong number. Baxter, who do we have on next?
The next caller's from our very own Kelly Hicktub.
All right, Kelly Hicktub, you're on the air. Make it quick because we have to go soon.
You know, you just can't. I mean, who runs around pretending to be stung by a jellyfish just to have somebody pee on their leg?
Don't know.
I mean, who does that?
No idea.
And not even to mention the fact that all the people that believed him anyways. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Like, I don't even think there's jellyfish in Arizona. You know what I'm saying?
Nope.
It's just stupid. I just don't understand why people just continually fall for stupid stuff like that. And that's what I told Lonnie. You know what I mean?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Nope.
Hey, Pastor J.
Yeah, what's up?
Pastor J.
What?
I'm trying.
Yeah, I know. Baxter, is he gone?
Yep, he hung up again.
Okay. I guess we have time for one more call. Baxter, who's this guy?
I don't really know. He gave us a name, but I forgot it. It sounds like he was eating something or something like that. I don't know. You might want to take this, though. It sounds like he could use some help.
All right, caller, you're on air.
This is an urgent warning to the entire population of the planet Earth. A massive alien abduction is imminent. Millions of human adults, babies, and children will be abducted and immediately disappear. In the immediate aftermath, expect global martial law, looting, murdering, raping, gang violence. Many graves will be robbed, with the dead also abducted. Expect Barack Obama to address the world, quite possibly with an actual alien by his side, to try and calm the masses. The explanation will be that the aliens have indeed abducted the millions and millions of people, and to remain calm. He has everything under control. There will be endless fatalities in traffic, airplanes, boats, etc., as captains and drivers disappear, as they are immediately abducted. Total chaos will rule the world for a long time afterwards. Sadly, this will only be the beginning. Things will get much, much worse. Billions of humans will die in horrific ways over the next several years, and Earth will teeter on total destruction. These things, 100% will happen, no doubt. There's only one way to escape, my friends. I'll cover that now. You need to pray the prayer as soon as possible. If you do, you won't be here for the madness, because you will be among those abducted
Baxter,
by aliens, which is actually
can you hang up?
by
No,
Jesus Christ.
I can't hang up.
Aside today, time is short. And do
I
it as soon
don't
as
know what to
possible,
do
because
then.
no one's guaranteed even the
Baxter, are
next
you
second
sure
of
there's
life.
nothing you can do?
If you'd like prayer, contact
Give me
me.
one second.
I'll
Let me
pray
do
for
some
you every day.
Googles.
Time is
And,
short, my friends. This is no joke.
maybe I could figure out something.
Disregard it at your own.
All right,
fate and peril.
listeners, until
You guys take
then,
care of
I
yourself.
guess we're going to have to ride this call out.
All right, Pastor J, I think I can do it.
All right, fucking hang out, man. Don't ask my permission.
And done.
Good job, Baxter. Okay, folks. Again, this is our final show here in China Lake. Please be patient with us, as you may not see an episode posted for a little bit. It's hard to put out quality content while you're in the middle of a move, but we promise we'll be back in full force. And hopefully this time we won't have to deal with any bullshit from any townsfolk wherever we go. So give us about a month. If we manage to escape with all of our belongings, we might be able to give you updates from the road. Until then, you can reach us via email, Facebook, Twitter, Vines, Instagram, YouTube, Patreon, Spreaker, Stitcher, and iTunes. When you search for us, just type in the search bar, Know the Truth. That's KONW, the TRUT. Alternatively, you can just click on the links provided in the show notes and you will be directed to us via whatever platform you choose to use. Of course, for the purposes of the show, call our number at 512-956-8788 or 512-956-TRUT. Again, that's TRUT. The music for this podcast was written and produced by me, and you can find everything I've created over at aloststateofmind.com. That's all one word. Or aloststateofmind.bandcamp.com. I'd like to thank Lucy D., Brian Zeigenhagen, and James Templeton for helping me edit the story, to Brian Zeigenhagen for voicing Chuck, and to Madame Nadia for being the voice of Dallas McSorley. Of course, it would also be very stupid of me if I didn't give a shout out to all of you who choose to take the time out of your day to call our voicemail line and join us in our wackiness. You are what makes this show so special. And funny. Lastly, to Jeremy Stevens and Jay Crowfoot, why is it that every time I find myself naked and alone in the wilderness, I find that I'm actually not alone? If you listen closely, the trees talk to you. One of them, he calls himself Frank. He loves NASCAR and is super excited by the fact that Jeff Gordon came out of retirement for a few races. Guys, next time you leave me in the middle of the woods to die, please leave me with my clothes on. The talking trees don't take me seriously if I'm naked. Anyway, as always, in a world of magic and make pretend, anything is possible. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Sleep easy.